Splatoon has quickly become one of Nintendo's most stylish and unique franchises, with a constantly evolving aesthetic that feels fresh with every new game or DLC expansion. Whether it's playing matches online or completing single-player levels, there's a special atmosphere to this universe that's unlike anything else. So today I'm going to be focusing on just that. I'll be covering some of my favorite moments from across the series, sprinkling in lots of music for you to enjoy along the way. The gameplay of Splatoon is fantastic, but I'm just going to be talking about the more abstract parts of what makes these games so great. The immaculate vibes of Splatoon that keep me coming back again and again. One of my favorite parts about the Splatoon series is its attention to detail when it comes to world building. Whether it's Inkopolis or Splatsville, the world of Splatoon always feels alive. There's daily news broadcasts announcing the current maps and modes, the shops all have different owners that are full of personality, every piece of music you hear in-game has in-universe artists who create them, and the maps all feel like real locations being used as battle stages. There's skate parks covered in graffiti, the multiple different levels of an apartment complex, and a massive bridge that connects the two major cities together. If I had to choose a video game world to live in, the wonderfully stylish, messy, and colorful world of Splatoon is right at the top of my list alongside legends like Woohoo Island and Hyrule. I am so familiar with all three of the hub worlds from these games, as I've spent countless hours just hanging out in them over the past 8 years. Looking back at the original Inkopolis Plaza from the Wii U or the square from the second game, it feels like I'm looking back at places that I used to live, and I associate each one with a different time of my life. Splatoon 1 feels like the bright and colorful openness of a younger me's summer vacation. Splatoon 2 has a more modern, sleeker feel that's trying to grow up and prove its individuality. And Splatoon 3 is a huge, bustling city, full of excitement for the future even if it's a little messy and chaotic. Splatoon is one of those rare franchises where I feel like I've been along for the ride from the very beginning, and it's a big part of what makes the world feel so immersive to me. It's so cool seeing all the little improvements when a new game comes out, from the animations of the characters to the way you search for players in the lobby. It's especially cool to see all the new ways you can customize your character compared to the limited selection of the first game. Even the Inklings and Octolings themselves look a little older and more mature, adding to the feeling that time passes in the Splatoon universe in the same way it does in ours. Each game lets you see the posts of random players in the plaza, which really makes it feel like you're in the center of all the action and can see what everyone is talking about. This is the true successor to Miiverse, and I love seeing all the strange and impressive things people come up with. Playing Splatoon 2 the night before the third game released worldwide, every single post was about moving on and saying thank you and goodbye to this game. It was such an interesting feeling to relate to these strangers I'd never met before, and it felt like we were all getting on a big train and heading off to the next game together. Probably about 75% of Splatoon's atmosphere comes from its soundtrack. I mentioned this earlier, but every song you hear while playing is created by Splatoon artists, with unique album covers and musical styles. There's everything from punk rock to 80s synthwave, and all of it sounds incredible. There are so many catchy tunes and memorable melodies, and it gives the gameplay a really energetic feel when it needs to, but it can also slow things down and give you a chance to take it all in. The squid language gibberish might seem strange at first, but what's really cool about it is that since it's being sung in made-up squid sounds, everyone around the world gets to listen to and enjoy the exact same songs, regardless of where you come from or what language you speak. Every Splatoon game brings a new set of idols that take center stage, being the Squid Sisters, Off the Hook, and Deep Cut. The music of these idols kind of acts as the musical core of each game, and helps create a different atmosphere for all of them. And somehow every time the new idols are revealed there's a big controversy about forehead sizes. I love how the idols aren't forgotten when the next game comes out. Instead, they continue to exist in the world, but simply get new roles. The Squid Sisters have been the heart and soul of all three base single-player campaigns, and they've even released some new songs thanks to the recent updates. Pearl and Marina were the main focus of Splatoon 2's soundtrack in the Octo expansion storyline, and in Splatoon 3 they've joined a bigger band to create a new type of music, and they seem to have a pretty big role in the upcoming Side Order DLC. And most recently there's Deep Cut, the group that are the faces of Splatsville, while also getting a small part in the story. And those are just the biggest music artists. There are tons of other smaller bands that have great songs, and the list just keeps growing with every new update. There are so many different styles and genres of music in Splatoon, and I love pretty much all of it. Just when I think they've started to settle into one type of music, some new songs come around that totally blow me away with their creativity and style. Whatever mood I'm in, there's a pretty good chance there's a Splatoon song that matches it, and I've been listening to these soundtracks consistently since the first game came out. Every great moment I've had with this series has been elevated by the music playing on top, and it's such an important aspect of the Splatoon vibes I love so much. One of the best parts about being an active Splatoon fan is getting the chance to participate in every new Splatfest, which is a big celebration where the whole community comes together to argue about pointless topics like what your favorite flavor of ice cream is. I love these limited time events as they feel really special, and they've consistently given me fun events to look forward to and enjoy for years. The hub world totally transforms during a Splatfest, and in the days leading up to it, the sky turns orange and you can see all the supplies getting set up. The main idols of each game perform for everyone in between matches, and the party atmosphere is terrific. The neon lights light up the night sky and the sound of the music echoes into the back of the furthest corridors and alleyways. The Splatfests have just gotten better with every game, and in Splatoon 3 they're at their best, with giant lights and fireworks in the sky, and two phases of the performance that are both great. The lighting inside the lobby even changes too, with a themed song playing that adds to the special atmosphere. Although I do miss the shifty station stages from Splatoon 2, as those were some of the most fun maps to play Turf War on thanks to their interesting gimmicks and layouts. The fact that the final Splatfest actually impacts the development for the next game is really awesome, and both the Cali vs Marie and Chaos vs Order Splatfest felt very climactic and important. I can't wait to see what they do for the final Splatfest of Splatoon 3. Every time there's a Splatfest, I try to stop and give myself a few minutes to just take it all in. The scenery, the sounds, the vibes, all of it. I feel like the single-player story modes of the Splatoon games don't get enough love. There's some really creative level design and great ideas here, but most importantly for this video, there's some amazing atmosphere as well. Launching between floating platforms in these sort of mysterious environments feels super cool, and each level usually has a very strong visual identity with distinct color palettes. There's a really nice flow to the gameplay once you get it down, and it's lots of fun to blitz through levels moving as efficiently as possible. The hub worlds always have some great atmosphere. Between Octo Valley, Octo Canyon, and Alterna, there's plenty of great locations that are fun to explore. Alterna really goes the extra mile and gives each island a unique song with a totally different feel, making each location down here really memorable. Maybe it's just the 3D platformer fan in me, but I'll always love overworlds full of enjoyable levels to complete, and Splatoon's story modes totally scratch that itch for me. There's also some pretty fantastic boss fights, but it's always the final boss that really makes an impression. The final confrontation with DJ Octavio in the first game makes great use of the heavenly melody itself, the Calamari incantation, hyping you up to take on the last phase of the fight. And although the second boss fight with DJ Octavio feels a bit repetitive, the moment when Callie and Marie finally reunite always gives me chills. Splatoon 3 really takes things to the next level with its final boss, facing off against a giant space bear on top of a moving rocket ship. The Mr. Grizz fight is terrific, and it's the perfect way to finish off the Squid Sisters trilogy of story modes. But you may have noticed I left something out since I'm on the topic of single-player Splatoon experiences, and that's because it's so legendary I have to give it its very own section. Of course, I'm talking about the The Octo expansion is the peak of Splatoon storytelling and atmosphere, and it's still the best thing to come out of this series in my opinion. Since it's an extra add-on to the base game of Splatoon 2, the developers didn't have to worry about making it beginner-friendly, meaning this mode is difficult, weird, and disturbing, all things I like very much for some reason. The ambience of the Deepsea Metro is incredible, and all the levels have somewhat somber and darker vibes mixed in with an 80s vaporwave aesthetic. The shift in focus to the Octoling race is really interesting. It feels like you're an outsider to the world, having to fight your way to the surface and prove yourself. And you'll really have to put in the effort to beat all the levels in the Octo expansion, as things get very hard. I love the challenge though, as most of the other single-player Splatoon offerings are fairly easy. Most of the music from this DLC is made by Deadfish, a Splatoon artist with an incredible style. All of these songs are great. She's easily one of my favorite Splatoon artists, and this music is a key part of why the Octo expansion is so fantastic. I talked about Splatoon's great track record when it comes to final bosses, but the Octo expansion really knocks it out of the park with its final sequence. Possibly my favorite from any Nintendo game, the race to escape the Deepsea Metro is such a great journey. You have to platform through this disturbing factory of cleansing and sanitizing, with the music getting more and more intense as you climb. A corrupted Agent 3 stands in your way, and it's so cool to fight the protagonist from a previous game like this. After the fight, you finally make it to the surface, just as the sun is gently rising over the city skyline in the distance. Then you face your final challenge, an epic 3-minute turf war match to save the world, with one of the greatest Nintendo songs of all time motivating you to finish it. Then as the big finale, Pearl lets out the greatest booyah in Inkling history. Another thing Splatoon story modes are weirdly super good at is having incredible end credits songs that are melancholic and inspiring at the same time. Maritime Memory, Fresh Start, Into the Light, and Wave Goodbye are all terrific, and I couldn't ask for a better way to end each one of these great experiences. The Splatoon series holds a special place in my heart, because of the amount of time I've spent with these games and the immaculate vibes they're full of. Even through all the unstable connections and unbalanced weapon spamming, I keep coming back to the current Splatoon game to have some fun, and I hope it can stay a constant in my life for years to come. Sometime in the coming future we'll be getting a new DLC expansion for Splatoon 3, titled Side Order, and I can already tell that this expansion is going to be amazing. There's so much more I could try to cover when it comes to this topic, but that'll have to be it for now. For me personally, Splatoon has earned its place as a strong Nintendo franchise that absolutely deserves all the success it's gotten, and while I'm not saying these games are perfect, I'll always have faith that the next entry will be full of passion and creative new ideas that I'll enjoy a whole lot. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see ya in the next one.